Hi, this is a continuation of my openHAB and Matrix Creator. This is Matrix Creator right here, on top of a Raspberry Pi A Plus on the bottom. And this particular video, I'm going to show what I have done. On the bottom of the Matrix Creator, there's another connector, a P2 connector, what they call. And what that does, they have broken out some GPIOs, which you can control through the Matrix Creator. And I was having an issue with openHAB connecting with that, and I wasn't quite sure what the problem was. I could see the commands being sent, but it wasn't quite controlling it. So I've solved that problem back actually taking similar what I do when I control the LEDs and control the colors. I actually kind of push everything into a single string separated by colons, and then I parse that out in Python and then send that on. I have a helper script, and then I send it off to the main script, which communicates with the Matrix Creator right here. And what I've done now, I've got multiple things connected onto the GPIO. I've got a PIR sensor over here, which I guess is not in the video, it's right there. I have a relay that's connected to this 12-volt light right there. Probably helps if I plug the light in once that happens. I have over here on a breadboard LED and a push button, and so that should take care of that. And then I have my Python scripts that are being called by the Exec Binding up here inside of openHAB, and I've created a thing, an item, my sitemap, and rules that go and take care of this. And so that's what I have right here. So I have the PIR sensor, I have the switch, which is the one on the breadboard. Then I can set the GPIO, which turns the LED on the breadboard, and then set the relay, which is the relay. And then on this other window, on this one right here, I'm actually, my script, I'm sending commands out to or basically messages out to syslog to show that my script is being called. I couldn't really tell if my script was being called or not, or having issues when this was running. So I did this in order to I did this in order to debug it, to see the commands being sent. And you can see here, you can see sending off this GPIO, and it's basically continuing to read pin 10 and pin 15, and those are, pin 10 is the PIR sensor, 15 is the switch, and so they're constantly reading those. And the way the timing on this thing, it's not really quick for those. I was having problems in the paper UI with these, and I don't need that. Let's see if I can bring it up. Oh. Let me see. So the paper UI I was having problems with trying to send commands off onto this, and I still got control, but they still show because I have the things. And so they should show here. At least a couple, yeah. So those. And then you can see the state. The switch is kind of backwards on the breadboard, where it's a 1 instead of a 0. And I must have moved. Yeah, I moved and set off the PIR sensor. So that's why the LEDs came on. So I can go up here and I can turn them off. And so that's what I have. So if I go ahead and go in front of the PIR sensor, it should, as I wave, yeah, turns. So when that activates, it turned 1, then it'll turn the LEDs on. I chose not to shut it off when it goes back to 0 because that was causing problems with these other items. Like if I go try with the color wheel when I want to change colors on this might be easier to see. I don't know. Let me see. Not really. It's just the way it's laid out. So maybe I can adjust the color a bit. Where is it? Don't want the paper. I bring that down a bit so it's not so bright. I guess you kind of can see. Maybe a little bit brighter. Yeah. So this allows me to adjust the colors and stuff on that. And then, so we'll go back up to this. I set the GPIO here, so I set the LED on here on the breadboard, and then I shut that off. Should turn off, and then set the relay on. So the relay came on, this light came on, and so that's part of that. And then we can turn it off. And then our switch, actually switch should go to 0, and it turns it blue when that goes to 0. And then if I set the PIR sensor off again, then that should go, yep, should go red. And then go ahead and turn that off. So this is just the follow-on of the project that I submitted for Element 14 with their home automation. It's just basically a simple example of showing how the GPIO pins off the Matrix Creator can be used to control devices locally, so that this could actually be placed. I mean, they have examples in there for controlling a PWM for a servo or a DC motor, and I have the DC motor example over there from MQTT that goes across somewhere else, but I could have done the same thing here. But so this could have like a PIR sensor, you know, for an alarm. It sets off motion, you know, then the red LEDs, you probably could have it set to where it flashes. I don't know if it stopped. That's another issue I've been having with this thing, that it stops reading, and I'm not 100% sure if I know what's going on with that. Because I think I can still set those. Yep. Maybe it started again. Let's see. Yeah, it started again. I'm not quite sure what's going on with that. I don't know if that's an openHAB issue or something else. It must be an openHAB issue, or something going on in Raspberry Pi where it just stopped. But every now and then it stops and it'll stop reading. But yeah, so that's an example of that. You're using the GPIO through openHAB, and I'm sending the Python scripts out, or actually sending commands through a Python script. So through the paper UI, through my things. I'm not quite sure if you could see it. But I was having problems because I have multiple commands that I send when this goes out, which you can kind of see from this window. Like if I go back here, and if I set the relay, you should see the command here, GPIO out init. I initialized that port. I was having another problem, so every time I send it out, I get initialize the port, and then I send it out. So I parse this out, and when it goes out, there's a semicolon between those, and it gets parsed out and broke out into a string like that, and then it gets sent out. Turn that off. And in the paper UI, you're not going to really see it because the way the thing is defined. I just have this inside here, and this basically allows it to receive the commands and then process them. I don't care about the update. So if we go back to another thing, I think, say digital temp, I think this one has the example. Yeah, so this is an example of how I send the Python out. So it's using Python 3 openHAB, then the script is local, and I have this new temp script, and then this is for my humidity, and then I get the temperature from the humidity device. Just past that, but I have multiple parameters I send for the GPIO, because I have to decide whether it's going to be input or an output port, the port number and all that good stuff. And it wasn't handling that. I don't know if it says regex or whatever, but that wasn't working. But so it seems to be working now with what I have, and so that's what I have so far. And I don't know if I'm going to do anything else with this for right now, because I have other projects to work on. So that's pretty much it for that. And then maybe I'll use it somewhere down the line for something else, and then see where we go from there. So there you go.